the day. Perfect. Wait, feet. And we're back. Done.
I wasted 2
Never throw dirt, you lose ground. My doggy just pulled up with the herb, yeah, we smoke it by the pound. Keep it peaceful, what goes around, come back around. Listen when your elder's speaking. It ain't a good deal if you don't need it. You only get what you need, not what you want. I'm trying to find meaning, I was once lost. Sort of question kids ask before they learn not to ask big questions. Even for one that had, even for ideas that one has consciously thought. I'm actually gonna read this whole thing from the back. Alright, what to do, March 2025, Paul Graham, very famous guy. If you don't know, he's suggested Google. He's got a great blog. Alright. What should one do? It may seem a strange question, but it's not meaningless or unanswerable. It's the sort of question kids ask before they learn not to ask big questions. I only came across it myself in the process of investigating something else, but once I did, I thought I should at least try to answer it. So what should one do? One should help people and take care of the world. Those two are obvious, but is there anything else? When I answer that, the question that pops up is make good new things. I can't prove that one should do this any more than I can prove that one should help people or take care of the world. We're talking about first principles here. But I can explain why this principle makes sense. The most impressive things that humans can do is to think, and maybe the most impressive thing that can be done. And the best kind of thinking, or more precisely, the best proof that one has thought well, is to make good new things. I mean new things in a very general sense. Newton's physics was a good new thing. Indeed, the first version of this principle was to have a good new ideas, but that didn't seem general enough. It didn't include making art or music, for example, except insofar as they embody new ideas. And while they may embody new ideas, that's not all they embody, unless you stretch the word idea so uselessly thin that it includes everything that goes through your nervous system. Let's drill into that. I mean new things in a very general sense. Newton's physics was a good new thing. Indeed, the first version of this principle was to have good new ideas, but that didn't seem general enough. It didn't include making art or music, for example, except insofar as they embody new ideas. This part kind of trips me up. That didn't seem general enough. It didn't include making art or music, except insofar. Except insofar. Except definition. Not including. Insofar. Not including to the extent. But that didn't seem general enough. It didn't include art or making music, for example. Not including to the extent as they embody new ideas. Not including to the extent that they embody new ideas. But didn't include making art. This can you explain this? Okay. Okay. Took me a second there to figure that one out. Okay. Well, I didn't even figure it out. This graph did it for me. Even for ideas that one has consciously. So yeah, okay. I mean new things in a very general sense. Newton's physics was a good new thing. Indeed, the first version of this principle that he's discussing in this essay was to just have good new ideas. But that didn't seem general enough to him. It didn't include making art or music, for example, except insofar as they embody new ideas. While they may embody new ideas, that's not all they embody unless you stretch the word idea so uselessly thin that includes everything that goes through your nervous system. Even for ideas that one has consciously, though, I prefer phrasing, make good new things. There are other ways to describe the best kind of thinking. To make discoveries, for example, or to understand something more deeply than others have. But how well do you understand something if you can't make a model of it, or write about it? Indeed, trying to express what you understand is not just a way to prove that you understand it, but it's actually a way to understand it better. This is like the Feynman principle. Another reason I like this phrasing is that it kind of biases us towards creation. It causes us to prefer the kind of ideas that are naturally seen as making things rather than, say, making critical observations about things that other people have made. It's like this creation versus, or like it's like we're all subjects. Make an object rather than making a comment about an object, I suppose. Another reason I like this phrasing is that it biases us towards creation. It causes us to prefer the kind of ideas that are naturally seen as making things, rather than, say, making critical observations about things other people have made. Those are ideas too, and sometimes valuable ones, but it's easy to trick oneself into believing they're more valuable than they are. Criticism seems sophisticated, and making new things often seems awkward, especially at first, and yet it's precisely those first steps that are the most rare and valuable. Is newness essential? I think so. Obviously, it's essential in science. If you copied a paper in someone else's and publish it as your own, it would seem not merely unimpressive, but dishonest. And it's similar in the arts. A copy of a good painting can be a pleasing thing, but it's not really impressive in the way that the original was, which in turn implies that it's not impressive to make the same thing over and over. However well, you're just copying yourself. Interesting. Note that when we're talking about a different kind of should, note that we are talking about a different kind of should with this principle. Taking care of people in the world are shoulds in the sense that they're one's duty, but making good things, good new things, is such. I really don't like this phrasing. Making good new things, just don't really like off my tongue. Is a should in the sense that this is how to live to one's full potential. Historically, most rules about how to live have been a mix of both kinds of should, but usually it was more of the former than the latter. For most of history, the question, what should one do, got the same answer everywhere, whether you were asked Cicero or Confucius. You should be wise, brave, honest, temperate, and just, uphold traditions, and serve the public interest. There was a long stretch where in some of these parts of the world, the answers became, quote, serve God. But in practice, it is still considered good to be wise, brave, honest, temperate, and just, uphold tradition, and serve the public interest. And indeed, this recipe would have seemed right to most Victorians, but there's nothing in it about taking care of the world or making new things, and that's a bit worrying because it seems like the question should be a timeless one. The answer shouldn't change much. That's fair. I'm not too worried about the traditional answers. I'm not too worried that the traditional answers don't mention taking care of the world. Obviously, people only started to care about that once it became clear we couldn't ruin it, or we could ruin it. But how can making new things be important if the traditional answer I'm not too worried about the traditional answers. I'm not too worried that the traditional answers don't mention taking care of the world. Obviously, people only started to care about that once it became clear we could ruin it. But how can making good new things be important if the traditional answers don't mention it? The traditional answers were answers to a slightly different question. They were answers to the question of how to be rather than what to do. The audience didn't have a lot of choice about what to do. The audience up until recent centuries was the land-owning class, which was also the political class. They weren't choosing between doing physics and writing novels. Their work was foreordained. Manage their assets, participate in politics, fight when necessary. It was okay to do certain other kinds of work if in one's spare time, but ideally one didn't have any. Cicero's De Officiis is one of the great classical answers to the question of how to live. And in it, he explicitly says that he wouldn't even be writing if he hadn't been excluded from public life by recent political upheavals. There were, of course, other people doing what we would now call, quote, original work, unquote, and they were often admired for it, but they weren't seen as models. Archimedes knew that he was the first to prove the sphere has 2/3 of the volume of the smallest enclosing cylinder, and was very pleased about this. But you didn't find ancient writers urging their readers to emulate him. They regarded him more as a prodigy than a model. Now many more of us follow Archimedes' work, for example, Archimedes' example, and devote most of our attention to one kind of work. He turned out to be a model after all, along with a collection of other people that his contemporaries would have found it strange to treat as a distinct group, because the vein of people making new things ran at right angles to the social hierarchy. What kind of new things count? I'd rather leave the question to makers of them. It'd be very risky to try to define any kind of threshold, because new kinds of work are often despised at first. Raymond Chandler was writing literal pulp fiction, and he's now recognized as one of the best writers of the 20th century. Indeed, this pattern is so common that you can use it as a recipe. If you're excited about some kind of work that's not considered prestigious, and you can explain what everyone else is overlooking about it, then this is not merely a kind of work that's okay to do, but one to seek out. The other reason I wouldn't want to define any threshold is that we don't need them. The kind of people who make good new things don't need rules to keep them honest. So there's my guess at a set of principles to live by. Take care of people and the world, and make good new things. Different people will do these to varying degrees. There will presumably be lots who focus entirely on taking care of people. There will be a few who focus mostly on making new things. But even if you're one of those, you should at least make sure that the new things you make don't net harm people of the world. And if you go a step further and try to make new things that help them, you may find you're ahead of the trade. You'll be more constrained in what you can make, and you'll make it with more energy. On the other hand, if you make something amazing, you'll often be helping people, or the world even if you don't mean to. Newton was driven by curiosity and ambition, not by any practical effect his work might have had, and yet the practical effect of his work has been enormous. And this seems the rule rather than the exception. So if you think you can make something amazing, you should probably just go ahead and do it. Just do things. Okay. Got a lot of tabs open here. Still kind of just browsing for today. We're gonna get to working on that Hacker News API. We'll see. We'll see when that happens. But we will get there. That's for sure. Okay, I got a lot of stuff pulled up right now, so um do, 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 do. Mm, let's bookmark some of these. I guess I can put effect. These are all about effect. This, I'm gonna say, uh, effect, cool. That
I have a
value.
confession to make.
Oh, I think this is him talking about Ghosty. Yeah. I actually do kind of want to watch this. I'm gonna close that. Victorian era. People who lived during the Victoria era. Hacker News bookmark. I stopped running that cron job, so that's gonna be empty right now. This is McKay's app template. This is project rules. This is takeoff thing. Tab basics. Kind of do want to watch that a little bit. This is the old app. Sorry guys, just clean it up here. I didn't make any commits yesterday, did I? We'll get to that today. Common expressions. I think we already did that. Let's refresh this. There's white stuff growing on your sheets that isn't mold AI agents. Less capability, more reliability, please. Terso SQLite is offline sync public data. Terso, I think that that Ethan Nizer guy actually talked about Terso as well. I know because I was running it earlier. I stopped it. I can actually start running that again. Let's start running that again while we're here. Composio. Trending stories, yeah. That's per minute. This one was big. Uh, these don't really strike me as being viral. This doesn't work, right? Pretty down to give that a read. Kind of want to give that a read. I do want to listen to this. I hope that I'm not like. If I'm watching this in my video, is that like a problem? Forms are dead, long live forms less. Turn feedback into meme powered game where quick taps replace typing. 3x in response, 10 times the fun. Interesting. Name favorite terminal. Okay, I got a lot of videos to watch. I need a snack though.
that's how I kind of got my about. But it was a weird situation. It's like they were opening up, opening up the branch in Surrey, like close to what I was, and I went to start thinking about it. But it tells you like how many office that are around. And I think the same one because I've been a person experience from. But oh, okay, well, what's the time? So I mean, you've seen me like hospital times. So you know, okay, yeah, we're doing them about. But I'll say for years. But yes, yeah. Oh, tell. Like, oh shit. Oh shit. I didn't say anything. Yeah. Well, well, so you spent me a message. And well, that's no, that means you don't. You should pick a room. The guy's not gonna be here. Yeah, it's definitely much different. Yeah. So, oh, it's big stuff. And yeah. Yeah, it's something you can do that in addition. So you do that for the person in the way. That's fine. Water so yeah, so those works. I mean, and hey, look, like, and then you don't have to pay rent. Yeah, you said you would look at it. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, but you're provided. That might be shit. I get a text. Yeah. Well, I was feeling off by what you said the other day. You're like, yeah, well, thanks everything. Yeah, it's gonna be like good fun. That'd be good fun. I don't know if like question. Yeah, it seems like good fun. Interesting. It really is when you're just a game. much more valuable. I'm taking game here. You need to have then you need to have this. And so it's not just like yeah, it's not like okay, it's not the third time being or third play for game. It's like okay, Dylan is one way from this offense. And now we need to like run around for 6 seconds and shoot people. And if I die and really know that, I'll spawn back in 1 second later in that spot better than each other bumping also. If I can realize I'm gonna make some noise, get some information from somebody, yeah, I know when they're hearing it. So it'll be like, okay, we know that they have these players, they have this one cipher, it has a trick, that cipher's probably going to be locked down here. So it'll be like, let's do this, don't learn, let's look at the orb, but I'll put this and play this orb. Yeah, and then it'll be like, and then let's slow through the middle, Sander can use his arrow and refund try to see you'll smoke this and this. Yeah, and then we'll break through and there'll just be like 1 or 2 places to look for a fight, and if not, we can stun down. Yeah. So it's like it's a very different thing. And so the shitty amount of people really only like I would say there's a term called IGO. IGO. Yeah. And then anybody could be like 100 better than this. Somebody else like I'll on your yeah. And I feel like finding like yeah, we're starting trying to see the if you guys are all like yeah, She's my room.
Sorry, guys. Need to make some. March 26th. A few days ago.
Yeah. Here, yeah. Yeah, it's maybe not really. Yeah, we'll see about that. I mean, it's still hard. Yeah, I just can't see anything that regularly, but yeah, but I think we're in time. I remember directly. Yeah, I mean, like, but I would say we'll see what we can do now. You were here first? Was you get the best shape of his life? Okay. I was saying, bro, was gonna get this in bad shape of his life. No problem with that. But it's good. Overconfidence. It's a big thing. Bro, I think it's a good goal. Obviously, with the working out and being in shape, that looks different for everyone. Doesn't mean you have to be fun for things like anime. Yeah. No, I think you're the one telling me that's what we're doing. Something I do working out with that. Yeah. I think it's 1 minute forward, breaking hard 75. I do it 5 minutes and 5. I don't know what we do right now. Hard 75. So we're, yeah, I'm not spending the time. And yes. But maybe that's why wait, what's so great? That's like not part. guys are. You have to follow the values. Yeah. You know, history or deeper, start getting down because this one looks like this is already getting it from so it's a little up there. Like, so the two more get 45 minutes to keep going over, and it's like at least 10 pages of a non-fiction book. I'm saying, that's fun. Now, they share 2 40-minute workouts in there, 10 but it's everything is a non-fiction thing. And no drugs or alcohol. I think it's like, but it's pretty safe, simple. And it's other. But yes, and about it. And I think it's like that book start over. You have to start over if you fail. Yeah, it's like that. I kind of like that. It's yeah, but then I think the thing about it, maybe the rules are good, but that's not really feel like that. I think that's like. The ball I'm good. No. That's okay. They sound like a modern YouTube had to be like, but it's like, peaceful, yeah. I don't know, awesome. That's not gonna happen. These rich guys can do this like time. Yes, things like that, necessary. Yeah, they don't make it. They don't exercise. Honestly, these second figures and podcast episode. There's a one where it's like, okay, but it's like, yeah, this is when you talk about companions. Yeah, so, some spec, some person, one there, and it was like, basically, it's just like, those seven, yeah. And it's like, you know, we like passive resources, and whether you get it. Yeah, I'm it's like, here's something. There's not like other smart, it's not happening. So, like, how smart are you? Yeah. It's like, you know, in market intelligence, it's like, you go to one, there's 2 bars left, right? So, you could get that's becomes, yeah, there, but also, second, so, one, yes. Yeah. But then, something, this name is still present. Yeah, I can say, with your health, physical health. Yeah. Everyone did. soon as we think about it, there's some things that I don't care. Like I'm okay with that aspect being mediocre or whatever. Things that you think are important to you, yeah, sure. Just think about it. I would spend more of those. How about you? Yeah, that will do. That will get you there. Comic help, man. Comic shit. Yeah, and it really still reaching, but like, I never, I'm not worried about that. Like, I'm like, I'm physical life before and after COVID, drastically, drastic. And I'm not like, oh, the government, COVID, not, but it's like very simply just so really what you have to do. Different levels of activity comes in. Okay, this would be, I've always had some sort of like physical pursuit, whether it was basketball, kind of living rates and driving wherever else. Yeah. And now I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Yeah. And now I'm like, I really don't have any sort of, even my stalkers. But yeah. Yeah. Support. I I feel the same way. It's like sporadic. Like I'll touch a little check out for a while. So I can tell you catch absolutely crazy. Yeah, have something inconsistency. Yeah, for sure. So much better. What do you think? Or right? Yeah. Like you like how you have this or what right? What did you have in mind? Like you're trying to get it the best shape? Well, that's the goal. Doesn't matter like what kind of. Some people really like, yeah, getting shape's cool, but like to me it's more important like yeah. Your concept first one, what actual I've done a few things that have like if I in and out muscle, I've never done the press. Not necessarily like pressing the body, but like I really, yeah, but really hard muscle. But Richard Tanner's like, and yeah, probably I've done it. So who do you realistically say like what muscle will be essentially, or is that right? But I mean, it's going to be the 4th month. September's the 9th month. So like 6 months. So you're going to be steam a little bit. Yeah, but realistically, none of the muscle gain per week, and this is very challenging, but muscle gain per week is generally considered to be 0.5 to 1 pounds. But here's the thing: you're gonna have to be eating at the same amount. Nationwide, that's but yeah, what's it like to me? Dude, I mean, I have much stretches that like gives your parents yeah, I feel like I summer, and I'm like this week in summer. Yeah. I think that's the biggest problem. It's just like I don't know all the people that's the book. Yeah. But I'm like the person that would maybe it's not the feel a little strong. Yeah, yeah, exactly. For me, it's really hard. Why? Like, when stretch this and shit. And probably the way that it's here too. Yeah, man, I'm gonna have to plug in. Trying to take out this fucking. Yeah, since I talked to the guys, like I charge the tellers and then I fucking a bunch of the other stuff that paid off automatically in my account. So there's like an outbound certain outbound well my account's negative. More. Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, so I did it Friday. Yeah. So I did it Friday. So then it takes, one. I was just like, Friday. I'm saying on Tuesday. I'm hoping this works because, like you said, you need that money. We're on Asia's recovery, so. Yeah, we heard from you heard from yeah, well, my interview's tomorrow, right? Let's see what happens. Okay. Well, let's get back to it. Let me know how that thing works out. If not, we'll figure something out. Okay.
It's pretty impressive.
It's seeming more and more like Google's going to be the big winner of the AI race. We covered Gemini 2.0 a while back when it dropped, and I've been blown away with the model since. It was so good and so cheap that we actually made it the default model for T3 chat, and I'm so happy we did. The performance has been great, the answers have been great, the speed, all the pieces are there, and they're doing something genuinely awesome. All that said, we're not here to talk about Flash 2.0 because Google just dropped a new model, and I'm kind of blown away. Gemini 2.5 Pro just dropped, and everything I'm seeing is pretty nuts. From the speed of responses to the performance it's getting to the benchmarks it's clearing to just slaughtering almost everything else on the market right now. There's a lot of really cool stuff going on with this model, and I can't wait to tell you all about it. But someone's got to pay these bills, so quick word from today's sponsor, then we'll get right to it. Today's sponsor is code bases, which is really helpful if you're trying to figure out how a giant code base works. Here's one that I wanted to understand. This is the rock built on top of Post, 200,000 lines of code in just the type, and now I can ask it questions. So where I can find hash additional layer base is set, like within the augment is /augment code. So what's going on with Gemini 2.5? 2.5 is a thinking model designed to chase a strong reason to see. Wow, pretty quick that Gemini drops and is immediately #1 here, even beating out GPT 4.5 and DeepSeek and all these other very well known to be great models. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot cheaper too. I will say we don't know the pricing yet, but unlike the previous Pro models, they've actually confirmed that they'll have this up and available for priced tiers very soon, which is huge because historically I've been concerned about adding non-paid models to something like T3 Chat because it means those rate limits are going to be enforced much more aggressively. If I'm not giving you money, you have no incentive to keep the service up that you're providing, but if I am paying you, you're probably going to keep it around. So very excited for them to add that. All of that said, this has not stopped us from adding the newest models to T3 Chat. I did actually hit up our contacts over at Google, and we were able to get Gemini added early, and the rate limits are high enough that I'm relatively confident you won't have problems if you use it with T3 Chat. So if you're a Pro subscriber on T3 Chat, reminder, only $8 a month, you'll have access to all of the latest models as soon as we can reasonably add them. If you haven't subscribed to T3 Chat yet, we'll make it a little easier. Here's a coupon code that gets you half off for your first month. So that's only $4 for 1,500 messages across all of these models. Pretty insane deal if you ask me. Make sure you redeem it quick though, because it's only going to be available for the first 200 people who redeem it. In my opinion, the only cool model we don't have right now is Grok, because despite promising the API for like 2 months now, they've still not shipped the Grok 3 API. It's insane. They're just lying over at the XAI team, and I'm so tired of it. Anyways, Google's been spending a lot of time on different techniques to try and make their models better. All the fun things we talked about a bunch in the past. 2.5 is all of those things coming together. They combined a significantly enhanced base model with improved post-training. Going forward, we're building these thinking capabilities directly into all of our models so they can handle more complex prompts and support even more capable context-aware agents. Up until this point, the thinking feature in previous Google models has been one of those like patched on pieces where they say, hey, think about this, and then after reprompt with the actual answer. Now it's a proper baked in thing in the model that's still able to be applied to other models too. I'm very excited to see what that looks like in terms of the implementation. Enough of the tech side though, these benchmarks are crazy. Crushing OpenAI O3 Mini High on the Humanity last exam. That's a big win there, especially considering this exam was largely built by OpenAI to find a better benchmark for LLMs. Google beating OpenAI on their own benchmark is nuts, especially when you consider how good O3 Mini High is. It's been my favorite model for a while now, and I'm curious to see if that changes now that Gemini has shipped a better thing. It's killer at math, which is really nice to see. I've had iffy performance with some other models with math. As you see here, 4.5 sucks at math. Claude 3.7's okay at it. But yeah, it's particularly funny when I consider how bad some of the math responses were with Gemini Flash in the past, so I'm excited to see better math performance here. Still not the strongest at coding, so for you guys who are here looking for an alternative to Claude for code, thinking models still aren't quite at the point where they're a great experience in our editors. I've tried multiple times now with using Cursor and all these thinking models. It just doesn't feel as good as getting a response immediately does. I expect this will be cracked in the future, especially with the like parallel multiple agents thing, but for now, not the best experience, and it looks like the results aren't great either. The other problem I've seen with thinking models for code stuff is they'll start to gaslight themselves with that thinking context and do things that they're not supposed to. If we go to like the ball prompt, I've seen thinking models convince themselves that gravity is supposed to go the other way and send the ball up instead of down. I think the problem is just that more context is created by the model, which means less context comes from you, which means there's more room for error to occur because there's more space that hallucinations are occurring within. I do want to quickly show my results on this test though. We open up my cursor here. So you see I have a bunch of different models generating different versions of that test. And here I'm going to run the Gemini version, and you'll see it does pretty well until it doesn't. I was so sad because it seemed like it was going to work great, and then it just, yeah, does great until it hits a corner at the right angle, and then it just falls out. Yeah. And for reference, I have another video coming very soon. DeepSeek just put out an updated version of their V3 model, and it had one of the best answers I've seen to this prompt yet. It just like works. It's not like super well animated, and you can see it has the issue where it rolls and it's about to fall out of the container, but it gets bounced back. So it's working much better. But others have been doing the same prompts in more elaborate versions against all the different models. And Flavio here is the creator of this ball in the hexagon concept. I know it's a silly thing, but I do actually quite like it as a gut feel benchmark for how well can this thing code or not. It's obviously not an end all be all. It's not representative of the experience you'll have using it in your editor, but it's a fun benchmark I think we can learn a lot from. And as you guys just saw, the Gemini version still has balls falling out of the hexagon. Good overall though. But as a general model, this is really good, especially when you consider all the functionality that Google includes. Google models tend to have a handful of things that are really, really nice. They have their grounding feature. Grounding is just their code word. One of the most underrated features, though, is that 1 million token input.
Up until very recently, I've been using the stock Mac terminal. Yes, like the one that comes with your Mac. I've tried others a long time back, but never cared to switch. That somewhat recently changed. I went viral at the end of last year for talking about how I still use the stock terminal. I did not realize how much harder I was making the lives of CLI devs. After trying a bunch of different options, I ended up landing on Ghosty, which was not particularly accessible. You had to apply to get access. But as of today, that has stopped. Ghosty is now available for everyone to use. And I'm going to be straight up. This is probably the terminal that you need to use. We'll justify it in just a sec, but first, a word from today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is Blacksmith, and if you hate slow builds, you really need to check these guys out. They take your GitHub actions and they run them twice as fast at half the cost. Like, for real. If you don't believe me, go try.
Ghosty does look pretty cool. You're supposed to be able to use like native functionality from MacBook. So like click to copy and paste a path and this type of stuff, which is really neat.
Try it out. You get 3,000 free minutes. Oh, and if you're concerned it's going to be really hard to set up, you literally just swap the line in your build script. That's it. Thanks again to Blacksmith for sponsoring. Check them out the directions terminal emulators can go in. There is standards, following, there is flashy features, and there is performance. And pretty much every terminal emulator has picked which of these directions it wants to go. You have something like the stock terminal, which isn't really on here because it's not performant, it doesn't follow standards, and it has almost no features. It's awful. You have something like Warp, which is written in Rust, so theoretically focused on performance. From my experience, it was not particularly fast. I don't know where it falls within standards, but it did not work great with things like tmux. Flashy features, it was pretty cool for. And I know something like Kitty is much more focused on performance, but it actually isn't super great from my experience with standards because it did not behave with tmux for me. The reason that I find Ghosty to be so unique is it is somehow one of the best terminals for following standards, the fastest terminal, period. And it has what I would consider the tasteful, minimal set of flashy features with a very interesting goal. It's not just a terminal full of hacks for Mac and Linux. They're trying to make it two meaningful separate projects. libghosty as well as a terminal app. libghosty is the core cross-platform library that powers Ghosty. It's available both as a SIG API and a C API, and it works today on Mac and Linux. The goal is to allow a large and diverse ecosystem of terminal emulator applications to emerge, ranging from dedicated applications, embedded terminals, subsystem editors, web-based terminals, new terminal multiplexers, and more. Super cool. It's almost like they're going for the Chromium shell of terminal support. And if this means you could get a good native terminal in something like, I don't know, Zed, the editor, super cool. As of now, this is not considered stable, but there is a bright future for it. They're apparently excited to get this working on WebAssembly, which is both terrifying and really hype. One more thing to just emphasize how performance focused these guys are. There's a terminal inspector. You know, like the thing you have in the browser, it's even the same hotkeys, Command Option I. And from here, you can see so much stuff. Super cool. Everything from the screen resolution and the grid size to what rendering and rastering engines it's using, the resources it currently has access to. I've never seen a terminal expose this type of thing that deep, that simply. Hopefully this emphasizes the mindset they're coming in with. It really is hitting all three of these points in a way I've never seen a terminal try to before. And that's why it's become my default so quickly. 99% of users of software want to launch it and get to work. A month ago, I asked Ghosty beta users to share their configs, and I challenged myself to understand why they're not empty. Part of 1.0 has been getting to where I'm confident that 99% of users will have zero config. This is a very, very noble goal. And if you know me and my preference about configuring my machine, go check out my old video if you haven't seen it all about how I have my setup working. I like avoiding config to the best of my ability. Not just because it's more to maintain and deal with and configure, but also because it shows that there's more alignment between me and the creator of the software. If I am massively reconfiguring the software, there's a decent chance that the way I use it differs from how the creators use it, maybe even how the community uses it, which means the likelihood that I have problems in the future is much higher. But this goal, especially with the terminal trying to be fast and standards compliant, is bold, and it's pretty damn close to being there too. But just so you guys know that I'm not talking out of my ass about the performance thing, the only terminal that gets any faster with the Doom Fire, I believe, benchmark? Yeah, Doom Fire. Pretty intense benchmark. Ghosty is so close to being the fastest, and we're talking about more than 10 times faster than the stock terminal app on Mac. And as Mitchell says, all of these are fine. Like if you're using Westterm, Kitty, Alacrity, or Ghosty, all of these options are probably fine in terms of performance. But I found Ghosty to be the least bad by quite a bit. So for those who don't know, the creator, Mitchell, is not some random dev just doing this for fun. He's the founder of HashiCorp. Yes, like the HashiCorp, like the Terraform creators and maintainers. And this is what he's done since because he wanted a terminal that sucked less. And he certainly made one. As you might guess, being the creator of Terraform is not something that you get no money for. So Mitchell's doing okay, which is why this isn't something he's expecting to make money from. In fact, he actually pledged $300,000 to the Zig Software Foundation because he loved working with it so much for this project and wants to make sure that not only is the project of Ghosty successful, but all the tools and things that made it so he could build it are too. He has a whole blog post reflecting on getting to 1.0 and how crazy it is that his side project trying to learn how to do native stuff with Zig became this super hyped up terminal Great read. Highly recommend checking this out. But we need to talk about the terminal itself and why I like it so much. So what's the secret sauce? What makes Ghosty so special? Well, thankfully it's not that secret. You can go look at it now on GitHub. Already at 3.4K stars. Up until this public release, the repo has been accessible to all users, but it wasn't public. Now it's finally true standard open source for anyone to do whatever they want to it. You'll notice some interesting things as we start scrolling through this repo. Here's one of the first ones. 82.6% Zig and almost 8% Swift with a little bit of C++ and a few other things. This is a Zig-based terminal with bindings for other things. It's what the Swift stuff is for, to make it run proper on Mac. But the project is built with the technologies that compile to be as fast as possible while also hooking into the native platform features to the best of your ability. There's kind of two types of native. There is native in terms of that may or may not be called, that I highly recommend checking out. I'll be sure it's in the description, called Ghosty is native. Ghosty is currently using GTK, but also can use Adwaita, apparently not as familiar. Huh. Today I learned. That's super cool. Folder. So what does this even do? Oh, interesting. OS, and you have the same shortcuts like Shift Command /. There's the proxy icon, which, so what does this even do? Oh, interesting. You can apparently drag from the folder icon to something else or select a different folder straight from there. That's actually super, super convenient. I didn't even know it could do that. Huh. Today I learned. That's super cool. Again, like these are native features that I didn't even know my Mac could do that they're building in. It even has the triple tap lookup feature. So if you want to look something up, you can tap it 3 times and then have their little fancy search built in thing. Secure keyboard entry. This one is huge. Most terminals don't have this for when you're entering something sensitive, like a password. Apparently the only ones that have it are Ghosty, iTerm2, and Terminal.app, which is the stock Mac terminal. All those other fancy ones we talked about earlier don't have this because they're really focused on performance. They're not focused on native platform features. So even though they're native in the compiled sense, they're not native in the environment they're working with in sense. Window restoration is particularly handy because I'm on the nightlies, so there's a new update every night, and the window restoration brings me right back where I was. That said, I'll admit I've not used too many of these features. I'll show you guys why in a minute. The point being, this article showcases how important native is both in the feature set and in the performance side. And that's what makes Ghosty such a great experience. I've been using it a ton, but you'll notice a few things that are a bit different from my Ghosty setup versus everything we just saw. I'm using Ghosty almost empty because I'm a Tmux guy. If somehow you're not already familiar with Tmux, then I need to do more Tmux propaganda. It's a magical little tool. It's the simplest terminal multiplexer. I could give a long history of how I got into it. The TLDR is that it's a standard thing you can use in your terminal and application that lets you manage different terminal windows. So I have this project I'm working on. I'm going to run it. But I forgot to open up my editor. I could close and run the new command. I could Command T and open a new tab. But what I prefer to do is just use my Tmux hotkey, %, and now I have a split here. This is really nice. And then if I get an error here that needs more space, I can expand it out by using plus is the hotkey I have. I'm using on my Tmux. And all these little features are just so convenient when you get used to them. You learn to navigate your terminal. And it also means switching terminal apps hurts me a bit less because I'm not switching my set of hotkeys and bindings and all the things that exist in the terminal. I'm just using Tmux in a different shell. This is both a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because I've used the exact same hotkeys for Tmux on Linux and on Mac and even on Windows for about 10 years now, give or take. But it also means if the terminal I'm using doesn't support these features well, I'm kind of screwed. And I've run into that way too many times on way too many high-end fancy terminals. They just don't like Tmux much. And I don't like terminals that don't like Tmux. This terminal seems more than okay with Tmux. That said, their built-in tab features, their built-in splits, and all of that does seem really good for the people who want them. Is there a hotkey for it? I don't even know what it would be. Command D? Oh yeah, look at that. I'm already pressing my hotkeys to switch between them and they're not working. I'm going insane. How do you move up and down between them? I want to give it an honest go. I'm going to try this. It's in the file menu. File. Okay, that's interesting. I would have expected it to be in window for things like that. It's, command forward back. Okay, I see this now. Okay, what's the better top? It's not H top anymore. I have the other one, a B top. Thank you. Terminal too small. Thankfully, it's a native window, so I can resize it until it is the right size. Check that out. I'm sticking with Tmux because it's what I'm used to, but this all seems totally usable. The hotkeys are actually pretty intuitive, and I might even give it a go because it's easy enough to do. I'm so Tmux brained at this point, it's going to be a hard swap, but yeah. I don't mind the splits being dimmed, honestly. It's kind of nice. I could run the Doom Fire thing because people are commenting on that. It would be cool to see the difference. Screen may be too narrow. I'll make the font smaller. Okay, that's pretty nuts. That's 580 FPS. Let's check activity monitor. It's using my terminal. Barely using the GPU. Using my CPU a decent bit, but like 15% load to get over 600 FPS. Yeah, it's going to destroy the stream quality. I'm sorry. Twitch server's crying. Bitrate drop from 40 to 5. Hilarious. I'll cover it up the second time. Okay. Yeah. Let's run that, but covered. Oh, no. Okay. It's covered now. I promise you it's running very fast. We're getting about 55% CPU utilization. Barely using 20% of my CPU total. It's doing good. Let's compare this to the stock terminal. Zig, build, run. It's breaking really bad. Like, that's not the bitrate. It's going that slow. It's not moving. It claims 72 FPS, but that is not 72 FPS. That's bad. That's real bad. I don't even worry about the bitrate problem because it's just running so poorly. And it's using more of my system than the previous tested. It's over 100% CPU utilization right now. Insanity. Yeah, it's bad. But there's a lot of other little things that I've learned to appreciate as I played more with Ghosty. One of those is the config. The config is pretty minimal, and this is all I have. I'll justify all of these. Window padding color background. If I recall, this was because I don't need this anymore. Yes.
It already looks prettier than the terminal. Damn. Beautiful. Hey, that's pretty. I like it. Okay. Anyways, I am super into this. Kind of reminds me of this thing that I built. Um, um, it rhymes. This thing is actually an ASCII image that I drew this thing, and then I took it, put it on a canvas, and put it through an ASCII program that would like put a range of symbols based on the density of each pixel of my drawing, and then apply different colors and symbol weight to make that, which I was just so excited about at the time. Who's the guy? I should give him some love. Coding Train, I think. Yeah, this guy. Awesome YouTube channel here. I don't remember what video it was. Does this dude still make videos? He must. 2 months ago. Yeah, this is an all-time subscribed already. Definitely check out this guy. Should sign in the chat. I guess I'll put a lot of these links in here. Where was the one? What to do, Paul Graham. Come and check out my website. Put that here too. Oh, I didn't mean to sign into the chat. Okay, I downloaded Go See. Dope. I gotta bookmark this. It's just such a cool thing going on here. Love that. We're gonna get rid of that. I do want to watch this, and then I'll start working on the app, I think, here soon.
$200 building apps that nobody wanted, and now I've cracked the code. For months, I launched AI apps with 0 users to show for it. So check it out. You can validate your ideas first without spending a dime. So instead of burning through tokens and cash and building full applications, I'm going to show you how to create a simple waitlist website that collects real user interests. Sounds obvious, right? Most developers actually get this completely backwards. They build elaborate features before knowing if anyone wants a solution. So let me show you. This strategy actually helped me validate my app ideas in just 1 week, saving hundreds of dollars and countless of hours of wasted development. So first, let's create a landing page that clearly communicates your value proposition. Then we're going to set up an email collection form that tracks actual user interests. So make sure you follow along. The key insight is actually measuring real user intent. Single line of code. This is part 1 of my series on lean AI app development that actually gets users. So stop building apps that actually nobody wants. And by the end of this video, you'll have everything that you need to test your next big idea without wasting another dollar. Everyone hates filling out forms, but businesses need this valuable feedback. So I'll show you how to use AI and fast waitlist to validate this idea instantly. The way that I got this idea was from the CEO of Vercel, and his name is Guillermo Rauch, and he had a bunch of free ideas on his X page. And the one that I really liked and started to really kind of go bonkers here with a bunch of bookmarks is the one that's AI native Google Forms. I think this idea could be improved upon, but instead of writing a full-fledged app, why don't we just test it out in the market? So I basically just copied all of his text here in this paragraph. And what I did was I put it into Claude. And in Claude, I selected the extended thinking mode here. And I said, help me get even more creative than this. So it can be really fun and easy to use from a user experience. It should feel like it's the first time someone has used TikTok or Snapchat. So the goal here, especially with feedback, is to try to get people feeling like, oh, this is actually really exciting to fill out. It gave me this idea. It's like AI native conversation reimagined. So create a voice to form, visual question mapping. I actually want it to be the fastest form experience that anyone's ever used. And we have to have like pops of color and make it fun and magical. It actually came up with this great name called Formless, the anti-form revolution. It's like, yo, this is really, really good. One tap fast answers, auto advance, smart completion, voice split, skip detection. Dude, it sold me. The AI is selling me on this idea that I had in my head. This is why I prefer Claude Sonnet, especially for writing tasks. And this is something that you have to have in your bag if you're using this. Claude Sonnet is free and you can use that up to a certain point. This is the interesting part that really got me thinking on this whole sauce here. And it was a part about meme friendly. Allow creators to use popular meme formats as actual question templates. So what that means is the fact that like my generation, we all just speak in memes. There is literally a guy on TikTok who can get millions and millions of people to see his videos, and all he does is just, those gestures are worth millions of words, right? And those expressions are just priceless, but they apply to everyday life. And so why can't we do that for forms, right? So this is where the developer in me is going to want to jump right in and be like, yo, we have to make this idea right now. I'm going to code it up. I'm going to use Next.js. I'm going to get V0. I got to get cursor up in here, you know, like the whole thing. But this is kind of where we take that step back and we're like, okay, we have to then now put this into something so that we can convert this and see if people actually really want this, right? So if I go spend a bunch of money to make this happen and then no one signs up, I've seen the story before and I'm going to make $0. I'm going to catch an L. I'm going to spin around for months and then try to force this product down people's mouths and they may not even want this. So what I discovered, there's this website called Fast Waitlist. So on the right-hand side, there's this editor, branding, template, hero section, and these various pages that we'll have to edit. We can select different templates like minimalistic. We can do something like Nebula, which is a little more chill like this. That's pretty cool. So the next step here, continue on with this conversation, kind of had more of a back and forth. Okay, so help me come up with an even simpler MVP. I just want to make one feature that maybe people will like. And if this doesn't work or doesn't get enough signups, I can focus on another feature and just rechange the words and try to see if I can get more people to sign up. If I can do 10 of these in a week or 10 of these in a couple weeks and get that feedback, and then one's an outlier, then I know I have something that I can continue to build on and start to use my AI resources towards building that app. This is basically what it generated here as far as like what the meme response system, voice alternative, ultra simple creator experience, viral moments, MVP visually. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do now is going to go ahead and just kind of give it a screenshot of like what we want in our landing page and figure out what our branding and our template is going to be. I'm going to go to like maybe Nebula, Stellar, or Glassy. I think I want Stellar. This looks really cool. I'm going to go ahead and kind of get this screenshot here. And I'm going to go ahead and put this into Claude Sonnet. Please help me come up with landing page copy that will convert and get people to sign up with an email for this exact MVP idea that we're working on. Attached is the template screenshot, and we'll need these different sections filled out. So make sure you can give me a copy that'll hook people and then try to imagine the different pain points that these people have. And so what's nice about this is Whisper Flow. I'll actually have a referral link down below. It's a really, really awesome app. I love it because they actually value privacy as well. They're from Stanford and they have a whole bunch of engineers that are working on that product. And it's probably one of the best voice, speech to text services that are out there. I'm going to go ahead and do that and let it cook. Basically, we should be able to get the copy we need. And we're just going to go back and forth and just fill it out and then launch this thing and we'll be ready to go, right? Wow, this is awesome. And so here it is, just generating all the copy that we need. This is really, really good. Damn. Forms are dead. Long live Formless. That's a really good call to action. What's our logo, fam? I feel like this looks pretty cool for Formless. Why not? Yeah, it's just like not a checkbox basically. Yeah. Okay. 90-page copy. Headline. All right. So here we have the actual logo, Formless. I guess we'll do capital Formless. Yeah, that's kind of cool. That looks awesome. And then position left. Yeah. Sans, DM Sans. That looks pretty cool. We'll do that for now. Edit font weights. Yeah, we're gonna make this extra bold. No, semi-bold. Bold. Okay, so this is the hero section, and the headline we're going to use is this: forms are dead, long live Formless. And then the subheadline below is going to say goodbye to boring surveys. Formless turns feedback into a game-like experience where people respond with memes, reactions, quick taps. Instead of typing in tiny boxes, get 3x more responses with 10x the fun. All right, let's just go with that. And the CTA button would just be like join all these innovators. Let's see, CTA, join the waitlist. All right, cool. Okay, so let me save these changes so far. That way we don't lose them. I feel like we need some pop here. So the primary color, let's just make this orange, right? That's kind of fire. That or green, right? Ooh. No, it's gotta be like bright. Oh, man. Yellow. I feel orange is so fire. Like this is really, really cool. Can we do, so we do orange, we go over like yellow. Yo, that's so nasty. If we wanted to see this, let's see if I can expand this out. I should be able to just go to this webpage right now. So we go test 99. Yeah, so this is the actual app right now. So yeah, I don't think we need a testimonial section because we really don't have any testimonials. The feature section sounds interesting. So do we have any features? New feature, hit that little pencil, plus circle, lightning fast responses, copy this, paste this. And so that's down there below. And then we're gonna say people hate typing. So basically what we're doing is we're really just speaking to these people directly by telling them about this. So I like this little star idea. This looks really cool. So star looks awesome. Or sparkles. Sparkles are cool. I like star. Star is really simple. This doesn't really have to look perfect. Getting the
I'm gonna walk you through at some point.
this setup is probably like the most important part. Sometimes a meme says more than a paragraph. This copy is pretty good. Also, we may even make this more succinct, but this is just the first draft. And so actually fun to complete, change to star, smile. Why not? Okay, so we're doing different things here. Lightning fast responses, that should probably be like little lightning bolts now, a zap. Actually fun to complete. Express what words can't, higher completion rate, save changes. This looks pretty good. And now if we refresh this page, we should basically now have isn't that pretty good, right? That's what's up. Oh, there's a product showcase. Okay, so we can actually choose an image or a video. Oh, that's pretty cool. So let's see if we can do an image for this. What I'm gonna go ahead and do is see if I can have it generate. So basically I'm telling Claude to just give me the description, and then we're gonna try to see if we can use something like Flux or the image generator to see if we can generate this here. So grok.com, I'm gonna say create images, draw, and then I just give it this whole description and just kind of see what it comes up with. Yeah, Grok uses the Flux image model underneath the hood, and we should be able to just get this and then see if we can actually attach it. Oh my gosh. Is this? What is this? This is so cheesy. I don't know if I like, let's see, traditional. Oh my gosh, this is so backwards. I think we're just gonna pass on the image. I don't think that this makes any sense yet. All I want is just to like, is this pain point gonna be useful enough so that people will just put their email in basically? Success modal would be here. So we're just gonna go back up here and we have a success modal copy here. So modal headline would be you're on the list. And the text will be, you'll be among the first experience. Okay, perfect. So as soon as they were saying you'll be among the first experience form list when we launch, share with fellow innovators to move up the waitlist. Okay, cool. I like that idea. For the SEO, I just need the title and the description. So we're gonna say form list. It's a cool title tag. Get 3x more feedback with meme-powered interactive surveys. This is great. So the meta description, okay, so it says ditch boring forms forever. Formless lets users respond with memes, taps, and voice instead of typing. Higher completion rates, better insights, and insightful experience to join the waitlist. Save changes. So just like that, we basically have our landing page. So if I hit refresh here, this page is live, by the way, fastwaitlist.com/test999. Boom, right? Powered by Fast Waitlist. And if we make it like mobile friendly, we actually have a mobile friendly form. And so for me, I feel like this is a little too long, and I'm just gonna see if we can kind of tighten it up just a little bit to make it more succinct. So forms are dead, long live formless. Help me make this a little bit more succinct. Surveys people actually complete. Formless replaces typing with memes, reactions. I like hook points, called hook points. And he has these really great framework for making these actual really catchy titles and things. So you see how much it's shrunk down the whole thing here? Save. So forms are dead, long live forms. Boring surveys die here. Formless turns feedback into meme powered. Okay, so I think I'm gonna just take out the boring part just to make this even more succinct. Turns feedback into a meme-powered game where quick taps replace typing. 3x responses, 10x the fun. Okay, that's even way more succinct, and I like that way better. So call to action. So if you have 0 people, it just says be the first to join, which is really awesome. People want to be the first to join. And then as people sign up, it'll be like 3 people have joined or something. So in our settings, we can have our URL here. So the name would just be called formless. And then from here, I can actually connect like Beehive, Loops, or Resend, which is really awesome. So sync connected emails to your favorite email services. Cool, you're on the list. Excellent. So in the dashboard, now you have 1 subscriber. For the free version, you actually get 100 signups. So that's probably more than enough that we need to validate this, that this is even an idea. So you can just literally text your friends, fastwaitlist.com/formless, and just start sending that out. And then start getting people to sign up. One of the most important keys right here, especially for app making, is to try to do something that's either already works, maybe something that's novel with a twist, or understand a pain point that you already know just from talking to customers. So for me, I know that when I fill out forms, especially as a person who's dyslexic, the problem is like it's just so hard to read all those things. I get exhausted trying to read this thing. And even something simple as a 1 through 10 type of thing. But I know that when my friends send me memes or I interact with memes, I really like it a lot, and it activates a whole different side of my brain. So I respond to that. And I feel like if I have a meme version of just feedback, who wouldn't want to do that? So I'm testing this theory out. I know I like this. Does somebody else like this? And by going back and forth, we're able to then get to a certain point where we're saying, I took a screenshot of Fast Waitlist and I said, hey, go ahead and generate the landing page copy that we'll need to fill out for the Fast Waitlist. And with Claude's on, it's great. It can read through that screenshot and just give us all the different things we need. That way we don't have to type in all these prompts and do these types of things. And the goal here is like, yeah, sure, we can do more things, but I'm just really trying to get the minimum viable thing. It cost me $0. I have a free Gmail account. I don't have to sign up for extra emails. I don't even have to host this thing. Fast Waitlist gives me 100 signups for free, and I want to get 100 signups. And by the time I get 100 signups, you know, I know I'll have something. So that's the first part of this series. The next part is going to go into a little bit more details, like once we get 100 signups, or if we don't get 100 signups, so what do we do next, right? This exact method has saved me so much headache when building my AI apps. And so I'm hoping to share this back with you so that you can get some traction and start to kind of not waste all your money with all these different AI providers and just more focus on trying to get those customers in the door and starting to collect those emails so you can have those interactions with them. Those emails are very, very important to build those relationships so really understand what problem you're going to solve. I'm still new to entrepreneurship. I used to be an engineer at Apple, and I'm now currently learning entrepreneurship on the fly as I go. Make sure you sign up for my email list that will be linked down below. And so there's a bunch of extra information that's going to be listed down in the description. Make sure you stay tuned in because next week we're just going to continue building off this idea and seeing how I wasted $200 building apps that nobody wanted.
Okay, so how do you use it? Quick and easy. Second version. That's meant to be implemented. This is does Hacker News not give it an ID? Honey has now lost 4 million Chrome users after shady tactics were revealed. Honey. Isn't that interesting? So these all have unique IDs in the database. Let's analyze the current approach critically. Time window problems. We only look at 2-minute intervals 2 minutes ago. This means we might miss posts that had massive spikes over a long time. A post could gain 100 votes in 5 minutes, but be ignored if it's spread across our 2-minute window. Yeah, okay, fair. Velocity calculation flaws. We're using simple linear velocity change over time. This doesn't account for acceleration, sustained momentum versus short spikes, and time of day effects. Posts naturally get different engagement at different time. Scoring bias. Current formula is vote velocity plus comment velocity times 3. This 3-time multiplier on comments is arbitrary. Comments might indicate controversy rather than positive virality. We're treating upvotes and comments as independent when they're often correlated. Threshold issues, current thresholds. Better approach could use dynamic time windows, track 15, 5, 15, 30, 1 hour velocities. Wait recent. Add context awareness. Compare performance against posts of similar age. Account for time difference. These all sound great to me. Let's implement them. Is there anything else that this thing needs to look at? I gave it that. Index TS. That's just the server packet JSON. Yeah, okay. Let's implement. Maximum intelligence and context, 5 cents per request and per tool use. Really? Wow. I don't know. I feel like this might take some time to generate. I'll be RB. Okay, these all sound great to me. So I'll implement a more sophisticated virality calculation. This updated query will look at snapshots within the last 30 minutes. I'm confused. Why does this not like this must change some of That doesn't really do it either. No. Where did I not have it in here? Um, Caggy dogs. Interesting. I don't know what that is. This is messy way of doing this right now, but I'm just gonna stick with it. That's interesting. I do want to check that out later. Oh no, I put it in the wrong place. Welcome, thank. Um, that's it. Makes sense. Like, what do you? Say,
Oklahoma Festival is hired Trey Young as an assistant. Assistant what? Assistant general. Trey Young? Yeah. So what? That's it. Yeah. Trey Young? That's so great. Well, I'm gonna end the stream, I guess. I might pick up the stream afterwards. So, all you loyal 0 viewers out there,